Hi, my name's Jerry Roberts and I'd like to introduce you to my creation, which is Colby City. And Colby City is based on the Lone Ranger movie that was produced by Disney a few years back, and I went out and bought the train set that came out with it and was a little disappointed with how the locomotives and the rolling stock looked.
So this is not the train set then, is
it? And I then built my own versions which were accurate to the movie itself. And then you have this problem that when you build trains and you build rolling stock, that you actually need somewhere to run them. So we had to build ourselves Colby City. And Colby City is gradually getting bigger. Something to do with me having more space at home, thanks to a very, very kind wife who's allowed me a bedroom to myself to put this into.
Well, that's very kind.
Someone stops the train there. So the main parts of Colby City at the moment revolve around the hotel, the station, the bank and the Redemption Saloon.
So which is which?
So this is the Redemption Saloon, and there's a number of items going on in there. I don't know what Harry Potter's in there doing because he's underage and shouldn't be in there. It's 21 for the drinking age in the States. But the Lone Ranger's in there chasing somebody out who's stolen something. And there's a number of villains waiting at the bar to be served, obviously. Being Lego, they don't get any alcohol, I suppose. And there's a Tuscan Raider's managed to find ice cream. I don't know how he's managed to get that either.
Well, he was parched.
Across the road from that, you've got the general store. And next to the general store, you've got the barber's shop, where you can have a haircut, a shave, a bath, or even teeth extracted. All for us, a very decent, reasonable price.
Maybe all at the same time.
Next to that, you've got the land agent, a chap by the name of Arch Stanton. Some people may remember him from a certain spaghetti western. Yeah. I'll leave that one for you to query yourselves. Then there's the hotel, which unfortunately for the people of Colby City is full, and there isn't many other places for them to stay. So having a room there is a pretty premium thing.
Is this a bank?
And next to it you've got the bank. Now this bank is actually part of one of the Lone Ranger sets that's just had another set added to it. So a lot of the elements were from the original Lego set.
Well, so you've modified that one?
Yeah, so that one's a modified set, and of course it's being held up because this town is just full of people that are just robbers. And in the sheriff's office, on duty today, we've got Sheriff Woody.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and hiding away elsewhere down here, and he's got out of his box is Stinky Pete. He's not to be removed from his box, but we all know that Stinky Pete gets out of his box.
You can never be trusted.
Okay, and then there's the Colby City Station and Telegraph Office, and it's also the interchange for the stagecoach, which is the Lone Ranger stagecoach, which has been lowered because the suspension was a little bit high on it, and it made it look like a double-decker bus parked in the middle of the town.
Right, so you modified that as well,
yeah.
Then.
And then behind that is the silver mine, which is being guarded by some criminals masquerading as cavalry.
That's just not on.
They're trying to steal the silver for themselves from under the Indians' noses. Next door to that, we're trying to build a town hall. We'll get there. Next time you see the model, maybe the town hall will be finished.
Yeah.
And then you've got the livery and the smithy, because everything in this world, apart from the steam trains, is horse-drawn.
Absolutely.
And disguised in amongst the other horses is a certain horse by the name of Bullseye.
Yeah, I can see him here. He's got a nice hat.
Yeah, he's disguised. He's hiding himself away.
That's the disguise. The hat is the clever disguise.
And then finally, the most fragile piece that we bought, and we managed to get it here in one piece, is the water tower and the wind pump. Because without this, we don't have a town and we don't have steam.
No, it's true. So, it looks very nice. Why is it so fragile?
Because Lego doesn't lend itself to being made into wooden frameworks. So you can see by all the neck brackets that have been used, it's quite fragile, I think the term is.
I noticed there's a few Lone Rangers.
Oh yeah, it's his city, so we put him in just to confuse people.
He's cloned himself, hasn't he?
There are a couple of slight differences between some of them as well. Lego do that. They make them slightly different.
Yeah, to make them more unique and increase their value afterwards, aren't they?
And from the old white hats and black hats scenario from the early movies in black and white where the bad guys wore dark hats and the good guys wore white hats, of course the Lone Ranger wears a white hat. You want to go around the back? And I'll...
There's other things going on in the back.
Right, so round the back we've got the exchange sidings. I just bring Constitution into a standstill and act as duty signaller. Now Jupiter is quite interesting because she's been pushed by a 9-volt motor, but she also contains a Bluetooth Lego motor, so she's double powered because these coaches are quite heavy, being in 8 wide.
Yeah, so that's a lot of weight to carry.
It's a lot of weight, and she can do it on her own, but it's too much strain on the motor, so she's running dual powered. It's cleared that. Yeah, for the purpose of today, Constitution actually has her own power plant as well, but it's de-geared, so she's being pushed because we had real problems with her at the Northampton show. Really? She was declared a failure about 11 o'clock in the morning, which wasn't good when we'd still got half the day to go.
No, but you do have other trains like this one. Is that yours as well? Is that what it's in?
And of course, everybody will recognise it as the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
Drawn by Hogwarts Castle, which is in fact a Hall class locomotive. So everyone calls it the Hall that thinks it's a castle. And again, Lego produce a number of versions of this, but there was an element of wanting to do it somewhat to scale. So this one's infrared controlled. She's got infrared control in her tender and in the first brake coach, and the locomotive is powered by an M motor with similar gearing to what you get in the Emerald Knight. So she can run under her own power, and that little M motor will actually pull 3 of those coaches, which is not a bad thing for a small motor like that, but it does need that second motor to do 4.
So is that train there to give the other ones a rest from time to time, or is it
I'm hoping that I'm going to go and run it on somebody else's layout.
I noticed a lot of trains in this expo.
Trains are good. Kids love trains. They like movement.
Yeah.
And the more movement you've got, the more attractive people find it. I've watched the children running across the hall this morning to see the Toy Story train going around on this layout, and it's brought such a smile to my face today just to see them literally Toy Story and run over here. It's absolutely marvellous. And then they sit and they pick out all the little details of things that are hiding around, such as Stinky Pete hiding in his toilet, and various other little scenarios that are going on. Can't take it all too seriously.
Well, it's a nice little town. I like the fact that it's still a work in progress, just like any western frontier town would be. Yeah. Maybe I'll see you again with more of it at another expo.
I hope so. I look forward to it.